Hey guys, so this episode, N55 POS, the one and only, aka the Civ. So the biggest issue Kieran's been having with this car is cooling system, and it either gets too hot or it leaks. So naturally he upgraded the radiator to a E8x radiator. Really nice bit of kit, but there's always a but. It still didn't solve all of the issues. So it solved the overheating issues, but it didn't solve the leaking issues because of these stupid spigots. So this is how BMW decided to tee off for the transmission DCT cooler or DCT heat exchanger, and this is the most idiotic joint design I've ever seen. So OEM radiators have got plastic sides, and I think the diameter on this is slightly tighter than on this aluminium one, so they do seal fine, where this one, the OEM spigots, and even with new O-rings, they just don't seal. So we've done everything. We've tried with the tabs being at their original position. They didn't seal. Then we've shortened the tabs down and we've pushed the spigot slightly further in. Still didn't seal. Tried siliconator, and that didn't work either. And then to make things worse, I think somehow we developed a little leak from here. So last ring trip a few weeks ago, it did hold out for a couple of laps at a time, but then, I don't know if you saw the vlog, there have been numerous coolant top-ups along the way. So, the solution is a Manuel radiator, which will not have those holes, and we are going to run a dedicated DCT cooler. So, DCT cooler, these hoses, pipes here, it runs as a hard line from the gearbox at the back there somewhere, at the bottom, along the side of the block, and then it comes out under there, and transmission fluid goes in and out through these hoses into the heat exchanger, and the heat exchanger is liquid cooled. These are my favorite spigots, the best coolant system design, joint design I've ever seen in my life. Not the sarcasm, but anyway, the hard lines for the transmission coolant are here. They come out, and you have like a quick connector here, which is coincidentally exactly the same as the power steering connector, but it's not an Imperial or an SAE standard one. So we can't actually find a connector that would convert this spigot to an AN fitting, which would make everybody's life a hell of a lot easier, because we could just run an adapter to convert these to AN and then run AN lines to a dedicated cooler, which was the plan originally. But because we can't find them, so if you've been in this situation before, exactly the same as the power steering lines, I think the same across the board from E8x, E9x, all the way through to the F-Series, whatever runs hydraulic power steering. If you know the details of this connector and you can find me some adapters to convert these horrible things to AN fittings, please do let me know in the comments, because we've searched for days and weeks and we've not been able to find anything. So, right, I digress. Going back onto the point, we are going to get rid of this whole contraption here completely, and we're going to essentially run a dedicated oil cooler, replace these lines all the way from the transmission. So Kieran's ordered an adapter for the transmission, so he's going to be able to run these AN lines all the way from the transmission along the bottom and then up here, and then we're going to try and mount this cooler here. But then that leaves us with getting rid of the coolant feeds to the heat exchanger for the radiator. So a manual one of these doesn't have this tee off, so that's on order from Germany, right? Yeah. And then the second one of them is around here somewhere. There it is there. And that goes onto a pipe that goes to the side of the block, or the side of the head, somewhere around where the turbo is. So this is
the manual equivalent. So it's metal on one side.
Yeah.
Because it goes just above the downpipe.
But that's the same, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's the same DCT as for auto and manual.
The only difference is
there's no T here.
so there's no tee off, and then right. It's a shame you can't just buy that because it's
opener thing. And then
Oetica clamp.
control it using thermostat.
Yeah. So hell performance thermostat, which is how many degrees?
92.
92 degrees. So essentially, we're going to run the hydraulic lines out of the transmission into here. So this also works for engine into here, and that's going to be the short loop. So when the transmission is cold, and then when the transmission fluid gets to 91 degrees, 92 degrees, then the thermostat inside here is going to open, and it's going to open this big loop, and then essentially the coolant is going to circulate through the cooler and cool the system down. And then hopefully that's going to segregate the engine cooling system and the DCT cooling system. In theory, simplifying things, getting rid of those shitty spigots, and hopefully keeping the car cool and making things simpler. So the next step would be to try and mount this oil cooler somewhere around here. So we're going to need to do some cutting and trimming of this slam panel bit, and hopefully try and make this fit. So stay with us. Let me know in the comments if you know the details of those power steering connectors, and yeah, just let me know what you think. You do realise that's a grinding disc, not a cutting disc,
I know. You and your angle grinder, bro.
You're trying to make it pretty?
Yeah. Because, you know, as usual, there is a correct way of doing things. And then
Shut up.
Then there's your way.
How's that correct way of doing things going for you?
It's going alright, man.
Yeah?
It's going alright.
Yeah, that's great. You know what else I think? You know what else? See that fire over there?
No, I don't. There is no fire. I just think of all of the lost aerodynamic availability. Oh, look at it. Oh, man!
Just get a file. Didn't you just buy a file set?
I did, but I
Just
didn't
file
use
it
just
down.
now. Motherfucker. You and your angle grinder. It's just no finesse.
Now,
I thought the whole point was to not cut that.
no, but it's still got to sit in from the other end.
Yeah, it's just going to cut a bit out the back of it.
No, but essentially you just leave just this,
Yeah, so basically...
because it's going to go like straight down there, but there's no point keeping this. So I say just straight, and then we're good. I think just along there, straight. Would you agree?
No,
That's nice. I really like it when you agree with me.
No, I don't agree. I do not agree at all.
The marker pen, yeah?
Yeah, because I know, because if I leave it to you, it's going to be like...
I'll tell you what, have you got a ruler?
Don't need a ruler.
Just here.
There, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so try and keep it straight, yeah?
thing. No, actually, give me a persuasion tool.
What size?
Yes. Watch how straight this is going to be.
What in the mental health kind of cut is that?
It's a cut. Do you know how long you would have been here with the Dremel?
I don't care, but it looks nice.
I think you're getting too bogged down in details. So what do you think? Yes, you like it? I like it too. I think it's great. This is a perfect opportunity for you to use your new file set. Perfect. Just perfect, isn't it? How far do you want to be?
Like as close as possible, like a tiny air gap. No, I can go way further back than that.
So what you're saying is we're going to actually have to cut this middle bit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I said in the first place.
But it's more airflow, so...
Well, no, it isn't.
Because there's no air.
Because there's a fucking kidney grill that sits there.
That'll be fine, don't worry.
It's alright, if you fuck it, we've got a second second slam panel we can use. Should have really just done it on the second slam panel.
No, that's okay.
No, because you just cut half of my car away.
It's fine, it wasn't all that special anyway.
But it was though.
No, it was-
But it was though. Oh, look at all of this extra airflow. Motherfucker. Holes that you've
You need to stop being so negative, man.
No, you need to do things properly.
I do things wrong.
No, you don't. Don't, it's frustrating.
That's great tightening, eh?
Just drill a hole big enough, man, honestly. You're so infuriating.
Okay, now onto the fun stuff, yeah? It's mounting the top. Where do you want the cobbler? One of the cables here.
What? Why are you videoing my ball patch for, bro?
Bro, it's not a patch, bro.
Bro, why?
It's not even a patch, bro.
Why
It's a fucking landing site.
It's the same as your forehead, bro.
I know.
My guy could draw white lines on his forehead and start charging parking spaces.
Oh, mate.
Do you want to explain to the people why we have to take the front cash bar off?
Yes.
I don't blame BMW.
So we decided to take the headlight bracket off to make life easier, and then
Vlad decided that it was a good idea to
there's no direct line of sight.
attempt to... Oh, for fuck's sake.
So that happened.
But we have worked out routing.
I'm glad you think so.
Kind of, in a way.
Yeah?
Apparently.
Oh shit, it's riveted onto this whole thing! It's riveted onto there.
Is it only at the bottom though? Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, it's riveted at the top also.
No, this side doesn't have a rivet.
Can you get it off?
Yeah, like this is willing to come off now. If only the rivet was not on the top on that side, it would have made life easy.
That's okay, it's okay.
Are you
All
sure?
right.
Oh, do you know, it's because of the horn bracket.
Yeah.
So we can get rid of that for weight saving purposes.
Right, how do we get this headlight off to start with?
Someone has decided to round the bolt. He believes he can rescue the situation.
I can rescue this situation.
Shit, he's actually rescuing the situation.
Haven't you got some fucking filing to do or dremeling?
No, you want to hold the camera. I mean, I could turn it off and go and put those nuts back on for the crash bar. You know, these nuts right there.
Put the D's back. Say something.
What is that spaceship outside?
Did you have to cut the bracket?
No, we're cutting down here. This is to be able to get to...
No, I'm saying that's already cut, so did you have to cut that? You see?
No,
right,
that was you with the angle grinder.
right there.
That was you with the angle grinder, bro.
Right there.
Yeah, that was... And then what about here as well?
I know nothing.
Which
I
kind
know
what
nothing.
Kind of sloppy...
You see?
Oh, that's another bolt to buy from. Why are you taking it? There's no point in taking it off.
Oh, there is no point of taking
No,
it off,
there
is
isn't. I mean, in theory, it would have been ideal if we'd mounted the cooler maybe slightly further to the right instead of further to the left.
To the right?
Yeah.
Well, we still can if you want. Well, I don't see the reason why. Well, move out of the way.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, that, okay. I thought you were going to start.
Just
Like
there.
here.
Yeah. Still cut a bit of the top, so that's okay.
These never tear gloves seem to be tearing her quite a lot today. Probably what my dad said when my mum told him he was pregnant. Oh shit! I hope our parents don't watch our your YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel. Sorry.
Our YouTube channel is fine, man.
No. Oh, just the silent bullshit. You should get a mic. You know, like when you do our ring trips and you're speaking to someone, like, you know, like when you're talking to Jace, just give him the mic, because a lot of the time, well, Jace's voice is quite loud and booming.
Yeah, yours isn't.
No, I'm the quiet one out of our group. Right, so what are you thinking?
Silent but deadly, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, right, so you're thinking like this?
I'm thinking like this.
Like so. Do we want to try and fit the rad in?
Yeah.
What did we agree for this one? Did we go?
We haven't agreed shit.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, did we think straight to 90 to?
Hang on. Look,
Is it okay?
just straight.
Oh, so okay, so straight into the adapter. But then
Straight, and we just pull it nice and tight here.
that's
one.
okay. Wait a sec.
It doesn't matter as long as it goes through here.
Yeah, okay. And then this is the 90.
Let's see this one. Can we do it straight as well? Slide it in from the bottom.
Let me just get rid of the end.
Righty then, so a little bit more progress. We have removed the old coolant pipe and we're going to replace it with the manuel. So this is the DCT one and this is the tee-off for the
It's the same for autos as well.
heat exchanger, and it's the same for autos. And this is the manuel type pipe without the tee-off, right? Here's the difference. So my suggestion was snip this, put a 14mm bung in it, Jubilee clip it, and everybody's happy. But you have to do things properly.
It's not the right way, man.
You have to do it properly.
Yeah, you do.
So this is us doing it properly. We've had to remove the downpipe. Where's the downpipe? There is the downpipe.
Basically, this is everything that has to be removed.
Yeah.
And that as well.
Yeah. Most of this had to come off, and
No, I think it's just pretty
some
much
other
that.
stuff over there. Anyway, so the downpipe was really fun to remove. This is that one snapped. This one I chopped off, and these two I was actually able to unbolt miraculously. I really wanted it to be simple, and I just wanted to take these nuts off and then slide the downpipe off, but what in the hell is this, BMW? So I ended up having to unbolt it from the bell housing, and now we need to transfer the lambdas onto the Wagner catless downpipe and reassemble everything back together with the new squash ring. Getting onto the V-band was an absolute nightmare. I don't know if you've ever had to do an N55 downpipe, but I've ended up having to unbolt the steering rack from the two mounts on the subframe, dislodge the steering rack to the point where I can lift this up and go in from the side. So go in from here. Where is it? From here. And I was just about able to get onto the back of the where the V-band is. Or is it from here? Maybe it was from this side. Yeah, it was from this side. And that's where the pipe bolts on. So making progress. We've mounted the oil cooler and we are waiting for some lines, and then it's going to come out sort of this way and run along here. We've taken a big chunk out of there, and then we're going to run them along the chassis leg, and then we're going to mount the thermostat over there, and then it's going to go into the gearbox. Have you got your fancy gearbox bracket, Mr. Fabricator? Bracket? No way. No.
I needed to remember which side was which.
Right.
But basically, I don't know why I'm explaining it, you might as well. But
So-
it mounts on the
So the little protection plate for the fuel lines, that black bit there, basically this is going to bolt on like that. And then we're going to put quick connectors on this side, and then that side's going to go to the gearbox. So yeah, you might want to trim these a little bit and put some nuts on it.
Yeah, that was
Some
just
of
to
these.
make sure that these fit before after.
So yeah, making progress. Look at that. Happy?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the thing, because it's got quite a big weld. It's not like a square in, that's why it felt a bit funny when you're trying to get the hose on.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's seated where it should be.
So we have now installed the new coolant pipe. All is A-OK, and we have removed the other pipe with the tee-off for the heat exchanger. So the new Manuel pipe, which is on order from BMW, does not have this. It's just a straight pipe. But the good news is we could actually use this pipe on this build, because the one that came with the N55 engine out of the 1 Series had these tabs broken. So we sort of made little brackets out of sheet metal to hold it in place, but this one seems to be in decent condition, so we're just going to replace it. But anyway, next step is to fit the downpipe, and the downpipe, which we ordered from a Wagoner, will not be here for another 2 weeks, and we kind of need it ASAP. So the executive decision has been made to remove the downpipe from this, fit it onto that, and then when the new one turns up, fit it back onto this. So yeah, essentially doing the work twice, but it is what it is. 2 weeks later, 1 week later, about a week later, I think. So everything is here. The PTFE hoses came with connectors, thermostats, quick connectors. So these two lines have been built up. Kieran's built them up, and they're running 45-degree connectors. So they're essentially going to come out of here, 45-degree down, and round this way, round the rad, down there, along there, and then we're going to mount the bracket for the thermostat just on the little protection plate for where the fuel lines are, and then it's going to go onto the gearbox connector, which is already there. More on that later, but we're going to leave the quick connectors off, fill the cooler, and then we'll bolt the quick connectors on, and then these quick connectors or dry brakes can then just slide in, lock, and then that's a nice and easy way of neatly removing the oil cooler if we ever need to. And then the thermostat is going to be on that side, and then you've got these two lines going to be running to the gearbox. Now, as for the gearbox, this is the setup on the gearbox with banjo connectors. So these ANs are just going to bolt onto the banjos, and then we're going to fill it with fluid, connect all the cooling system back up. So this is the new radiator with a little improvised protection shield while we're working on the car. The new coolant hose without the tee-off for the heat exchanger. That's that one, and then there's another one of them, which I think I covered a little bit earlier. So nice and neat. Hopefully this can all go back together, the fan can go back on then, and then we'll see if we can take it for a test drive. Also in process of making some custom brackets for the top attachment, just so we can secure the top of the oil cooler, and they look something like this. So they're going to be going there, bolt in there, bolt in here, trim them after, and then that should be okay. So and they should clear the air intake scoops, leaving enough room for the air to still go into the airbox and not getting in the way of anything. So under the car now, the thermostat is mounted onto this plate here. So that's your thermostat, and we've got the lines running to the gearbox and onto the new gearbox adapter with banjo fittings. So you will notice that the lines cross over, but that's because this is the only way we could have fitted them, because from the gearbox one is feed and one is return, and the thermostat also has a feed and return, so in and out. And I don't think you could see it from this angle here. Let's see, just that you've got the little arrows, right? And because the thermostat is mounted in such way, this was the only way we could have done it. So it's a little bit annoying that the lines have to cross over, but luckily they're not touching the gearbox and everything is nicely tight, guten tighten, and hopefully it should remain that way and not cause any issues. Now, moving on to this side, we also have a new DP, downpipe, and the downpipe is a Wagner with some new fancy hardware. So the old one was absolutely rotten, and it was a bit of a nightmare to get the old ones off, but we got it done. We did have to dislodge the steering rack and just move the steering shaft out of the way so we can get to the V-band bolt from this side, sort of thing. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, got it done last weekend. So we are now cutless with some new fancy hardware and new gaskets on this side and a squash gasket on that side and a new V-band. We actually moved it from this car because that's still ongoing, and all the new stuff that's on order is actually going to go onto that car instead. So because we needed this urgently, we had one essentially on the other car, so we just pulled it off and put this on. And we also replaced the pipe, the coolant pipe, which I mentioned earlier in the video, which goes onto the side of the engine right there. And this one is the one that doesn't have a tee-off, so it runs above the turbo. You can just about see it there. That's it there. To the front of the car, to the thermostat, and this one doesn't have the tee-off. This is the pipe that was earlier in the video on the creeper next to the thermostat. So that's been replaced, and the front coolant pipe has also been replaced. So now on to filling the oil cooler and then potentially boxing it all back up together. Time for brackets. That one's already on, so just nothing fancy, just a little bit of sheet aluminium. What is it, 2 mil, 3 mil? 3 mil aluminium sheet, an angle grinder, and just something really nice and simple and crude. So goes into there like that and onto there, and we're using speed clips or C clips or U clips, whatever you want to call them, to fasten it all down. Seen the bolt that goes in there? It was one of the smaller ones. Yeah, that'd be the one. It's one of the OEM ones. That's it. Guten Titan. Have a look in there. There's nothing touching. It's not rubbing on the radiator. Good?
Yeah.
Good. Right, so now on to filling. Righty. So, all mounted up it has taken about 1 litre of gearbox fluid, and we used this thingy to fill it. So we had the pipes disconnected from the dry brake connectors, and then we filled one until it came out the other one, and then we just connected them onto there. Really nice bit of kit this. So it was Kieran's idea to get these dry brake connectors, and I think it was a great idea. He doesn't often have many, but it was a good idea.
It's the right way of doing it.
Sure. And then that's the new pipe, and then it all sort of fits there and runs along the chassis leg nicely out of the way, around here and up to there. So it's all mounted. My custom bracketry is all here, nice and solid. Doesn't go up, doesn't go down, all a-okay. Had to trim this ever so slightly, but now we're sort of ready to assemble the cooling system and then move on to putting the front end back together. Carbon fiber. Give it a blip. Where are your pops and bangs, bro?
During the week when the MHD arrived. Well, technically I've not got an email yet.
Have you not?
No, but it'll probably pop up as soon as I do some miles.
The next day.
This is the definition of ghetto. It says a battery charger is recommended.
Yeah, boy.
And I have a transmission fault now as well.
Shit. And you have a gap.
That's what happens when you fit an M3 cluster in a non-M3.
So we're going stage 2?
Apparently.
Should have gone for stage 2 plus HD BT
PS5
HDMI.
LGBTQIA2S+.
So you've been driving it today, yesterday?
Okay, yesterday my drive was
To McDonald's,
food,
drive through
yeah.
and back. Nice. But it hasn't leaked yet, touch wood.
Well, I don't know,
Right.
have a look at it after this. 'cause
And
I need to do
then-
pads anyway, so.
Today, what, 20-mile round trip? Or 40-mile round
Yeah,
trip?
and a McDonald's trip at lunch,
Nice.
which is about a mile.
And so far no leaks, and DCT seems to be working, and everything seems to be a-okay. Would you pop the hood, please?
Can we just wait for this to finish?
What, you're worried about opening the bonnet?
I'm worried about everything.
Just open the damn
If
bonnet.
this goes wrong today, it means I have to take that fucking M3.
Yeah, oh no, what a shame. You'd have to take the supercharged M3 to the ring. Open the damn bonnet.
That's that.
Open the bonnet. So we've put everything back together yesterday, and it seems so far so good. I did spill some water while I was filling it. Yes, it's only running water, it's not running coolant, because ring, and if something goes bang, it's always safer to just have water so the people behind you don't slip and crash, and then you have to pay for stuff. So if you are tracking your car often, I personally recommend, from my own experience, is running water. That there blew a coolant hose at the jumpy bit. What's the jumpy bit called? The jump. What's the jump called? Yeah, brake, jump, brake. What is it called? The brake, jump, brake bit. Damn German names. So anyway, that blew the hose on the landing, and then the coolant, it had coolant in it. So the coolant it blew top radiator hose here, and then it all exploded, and all the coolant came out this side, and I lost traction on this wheel and on that wheel, and I nearly crashed it, but luckily it was okay. And there was a really upset Spaniard behind me in an orange M2, and he then proceeded to report me to the marshals on the way out, and the marshals politely told him to off. And yeah, so luckily nothing had happened, but I had coolant in it. So ever since that day, I've been running just distilled water in the car, just if anything was to go wrong again on track, it's just safer for yourself and people behind. So this is only running water, and so far so good. It seems to be a-okay. This is what the new cooler looks like. Very understated, nicely mounted. You can just about make out the hose down there, which you can't really see, but like right down there, and then they run there and to the thermostat with the dry brake quick connectors. So far so good. A few more days of testing, and then proper test at the Nordschleifer coming up. So there you go, guys. If you have any comments, any questions, if you want to know what we've used on doing this conversion and simplifying stuff and just basically making the car hopefully a little bit better. So better in the sense it's going to have better cooling for the DCT, and it's going to have better cooling for the actual engine itself, the water cooler, the radiator, and then eventually we're going to replace the oil cooler, which sits down there. But that's all coming up in the future. So let me know if you need to know any of this stuff. If you have any questions, if you want to know how it got on long term, if you're watching this sometime after the video is released, you know what to do. Drop me a shout. I always try and reply to everybody, whether it's comments or DMs, whichever. So yeah, give us a shout, and see you again in the next one.